Hey, welcome to the PHNX Tailgate, presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, where if you just place a $5 bet on any NFL game, and if that team wins, you get $200 in free bets just by using promo code PHNX. I'm Saul Bookman, Johnny Venerable, Shane Diefenbach. We're all here. Let's run that intro.
Shane Diefenbach, Little Minds Preschool, Spelling Bee champion.
Johnny Venerable, Chittix Junior High School, Normal, Illinois.
Saul Bookman, Natterburg Elementary. Go Rattlers.
All right, awesome.
My intro's in black and white for some reason.
You look like you're in the witness protection program every single week. So
I'm hiding from a lot of people on the stage.
Hiding from those bets you keep making, I guess. So I'm drinking a peach sour ale because, hey, things are pretty peachy right now because, somebody won finally yesterday, and we'll get to that in a second. How about you guys? What are you guys drinking?
Dos Equis.
This is a Coors Light I found kind of laying around. So this is kind of how I feel about the Cardinals offense
It's
today.
like you say that like you found it on the street as you were walking into the building.
Some
like,
homeless
I
guy
just
gave
saw
this
it in
to
the
me.
bush and it was like, all right, cool. Swapped a sandwich for a beer.
This is the Colt McCoy, Andy Isabella drink of choice today.
Offense is
We'll also
light.
get to that.
Well, these guys didn't drink, the Marcus Deniza Padres, because they had a fantastic finish to their game on Friday night. If you don't know, check it out.
Marcos Castillo.
Sorry. Let me try that.
Let's
fix
run
that.
that back. Let's do it again.
I was really looking forward to that. clip.
Okay,
we'll fix that.
apparently we have technical difficulties. I don't know what's happening here, but give us a second. Give us a second. It's okay. You know, sometimes.
So I can help a little bit. I was thinking about becoming one of those guys that walks into a room and smells good. Like, I'm not saying I've been smelling bad lately. I'm just trying to fill some time. But like, okay,
I'm going to
go
apologize to everybody.
Thank goodness. I don't know where.
Marcos Castillo.
Fix it.
Okay.
What is going on?
Everything was so ready. I don't know.
No,
Leah, now
she
you're
wasn't
going
ready.
to be forced to watch the Cardinal game.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I'm sorry.
back to your point, Shane.
Yeah. So you know how the guys like you have normal people like, oh, sometimes smell like they have like, oh, I like your cologne today, you smell good. But you have those guys that will walk into a room and like they always have that smell to them. Like, it's not a bad smell, it's a good one. I was
think
thinking about like getting a body wash and like having a smell.
I feel like you're born with that.
So, well, no. So I get what you're saying because my fiance's aunt used to say you should always stick with a particular smell, like cologne or something like that, because your kids will always remember that smell for the rest of your life. And I always thought that was poignant. So I actually got into cologne quite a bit. There's this one fragrance guy on TikTok who's always like, this is the best kind of perfume you can use right here. And he says that you should spray it yourself 3 times, 2 in the front and 1 on the back.
No?
So the ladies behind you could always smell you.
Wow.
I typically just smell like fear because I'm afraid of my wife. And that's what kind of transpires from my pores.
Not a lot of women are behind me. They usually like to stay in front of me just to make sure everything's okay.
Okay.
What does that mean? We always have to have eyes on you?
What? Like,
Oh
if
my
they stay in
God.
front of you, like, or
Can we
maybe
talk,
you're just.
Can we
okay,
talk
all right,
some
let's just-
sports, please?
Yeah.
Fucking
We're
God.
trying to figure out what's going on. You know what? Let's just skip it. Marcus Deniza won. It was a blocked field goal return. I don't know what happened here. I apologize, folks. But let's move on because we have something a little bit more significant to talk about, and that's the University of Arizona getting their first win of the season. Leah, you better have this clip. Run it.
Let's go to Coach Fish, the best coach in the country. Thank you for never giving up on us. Yes, we're going to get this thing. Yes,
So
before we start,
Okay.
and I just got,
Yeah.
I had to preemptive strike this because I knew this was going to come out of your guys' mouth. I don't know. Stanley Berryhill's a fantastic guy, high character kid. He's been on our show, on the PHNX Wildcat show. Stanley, best coach in the country. Chill, buddy. Chill.
That's like when I say Shane's the best co-host in the country on bets, but no one believes me, and I don't even believe it when I say it.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say I ran a mile yesterday. Am I a track star? If I do one thing good, does that make me the best ever? I mean, come on, you beat a team that had 24 players not available and a Cal team at that, and you won.
Listen,
Miracles
Shane.
happen.
Like we can shit all over U of A as much as you want, but we also got to acknowledge that, hey, Arizona doesn't have exactly the highest talent in the country. They have like half their quarterbacks are gone.
Yeah.
They're on like their 4-string quarterback. Like they have their own, things to deal with as well. Hey, a win's a win, and you get them however you can. And the great Larry Fitzgerald used to say, you got to celebrate the wins no matter how they come, because you never know when the next one's gonna come.
What I appreciated most from that game is the fact that 36,000+ people got to witness that in person. Oh, wait, by the way, there was probably under 10,000 people there.
Under five.
Well, actually, we actually have footage of the storming of the field.
Oh man,
you can
36,000 strong there.
So yeah, that's actually 3,000 students, and that's about it. Because if you saw the other side of the stadium, there was. Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. There was some people that were trying to crap all over these students for doing this.
Hell no.
And I'm saying, like, listen. A lot of these students are freshmen, sophomores.
Yep.
They've been sitting in that heat because it was hot yesterday.
It was really
It was
hot.
hot. Those bleachers are not warm. There's nowhere to hide.
You live in
that
Tucson.
sun is just beating down on you. Hey, Tucson's great. You don't even know. And they stuck with it. And they stuck with it, and they sat there the entire game. And a lot of them have never seen U of A win.
Look,
So yeah, you got to celebrate
they
it.
broke the longest losing streak in Pac-12 history. I mean, there's room for celebration.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Listen, there's a big difference between winning for the first time in 20 games
Yeah.
and every year when you beat your rival storming the
For
court.
sure.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
I don't.
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway, so hey, I just appreciated it. And for those trolls on social media that were trying to really badmouth these kids, just go somewhere else. Speaking of bad trolls, there's this tweet that happened last year towards the end of the season, trying to crap on Luka Doncic. I know this is not football related, but I just wanted to bring this up. This is troll, how not to be a troll 101. They're talking about Jason Tatum, how he's awesome, and Luka is vaping or something, and he just doesn't look like he's doing anything. Well, how'd that work out for you guys last night?
It's Luka against Josh Richardson. Left side of the floor. Luka's three. It's a ring.
Yeah, it's Hookah Doncic is what they're calling him because he was smoking a hookah.
Dude, there's just some dudes that it doesn't do. They could eat a dozen donuts before they show up to the game and drink a 12-pack, and they're still gonna blow you out.
That tweet is the reason why I hate Jason Tatum. If he didn't have the super fans that he has, I wouldn't mind him. I fucking hate him so much, strictly because of how much people love him.
Well, he had that Eastern Conference Finals run as a rookie. Remember, and they took it to the Cavs and LeBron. And I feel like they've just kind of been bailing water ever since then. That Celtics program in general, they went all in on draft picks and acquiring assets, and they never really tried to make that big move. And then the Kyrie Irving move blew up in their face. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for them either. Tatum's from my native Midwest. He's from Missouri. He's spent time in Illinois. So I have a soft spot for him. I think he's a great kid. But I'm with Saul. Like, I can come in here and dominate on our show on PHNX Cardinals. The day after, I dominate Dunkin' Donuts with my kids, overeat at Panera, and some of us just have it. Some of us don't have it, and they have to take a nap.
So he's from your same area. Where did the height go then? Did you give it all to him?
Well, he does not have two 5'4" grandfathers, one of which is from Italy, and so no, I just because we're from the same area doesn't mean we're related and we're all little.
It's not like they drink the water around there. And
I don't know what you mean by that.
Jeez. All right.
blood.
Well, that was that was pitch to the tent. Let's move on to Survey Says Cerveza, one of our favorite segments of the week, where Leah, the woman behind the Mac, is going to quiz us on some things.
All right. Well, this week I asked you guys all to send in 2 truths and a lie.
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
So we are gonna play 2 truths and a lie, and everyone has to guess what the lie is. Oh, we got an
Elon here.
super chat.
Love that.
Looking for cards to win.
There you go. Cards to win.
31-24.
31-24.
Love you,
like
Elon.
All right. So we're gonna start with mine. So here's my 2 truths and a lie. I've seen the Northern Lights. I once sat next to Charles Barkley on an airplane, and a fire in my bedroom closet destroyed my entire room.
I feel like there's a red herring here. Like you haven't seen the Like you should see the Northern Lights because you're Canadian. I don't know where the I don't know where the Northern Lights usually are, but I'm gonna go. I'm
Are
gonna
they
go
in
with
Northern
A.
Arizona?
Yeah, NAU. You haven't seen the Northern Lights at NAU.
I'll go B. I don't think you've sat next to Charles Barkley on an airplane.
I don't think you've seen the Northern Lights.
Charles is flying private.
All right. So the B is my lie, but my mom has sat next to Charles Barkley on an airplane.
Nice,
So
nice.
So what? Fire?
So
Yeah, please explain.
So when I was in 2nd grade, I left the light on in my closet, and there was a blanket against the light, and it literally, the heat from the light started a fire against the blanket, and there was a fire in my room. It destroyed everything in my closet, everything in my room. We had to like renovate our house because it like destroyed the floor. It was a lot.
Damn.
That stinks. Hope
That
you
is
had
crazy.
homeowners renter's insurance.
As a child.
Yeah.
Herself.
Yeah, she's 5 years
When
old.
I was-
She's
Fiscal
like,
article policy.
gotta pay these bills. That lemonade stand ain't gonna pay for itself.
That's right.
All right, let's
right.
go. We'll go Saul next.
All right. Mine is once got drunk with LeBron, had coffee and popcorn at Disney World with Emmitt Smith, and played a round of golf with Larry Fitzgerald.
Well, I know B is true because you've told me about that.
Damn it.
There's no way you've gotten drunk with
Yeah,
LeBron.
I will say A is a bunch of bullshit.
Leah?
I'm also gonna say A because I feel like the other 2 are true.
Yeah, well, I have gotten drunk with LeBron.
What?
Yeah,
You've never
yeah.
played golf with Larry. Okay.
So literally the week after the decision, his decision to go to Miami,
Yeah.
he was at Club Tao in Vegas,
Mhm.
and they were up in the his straight puffery, and yeah, they were up in the VIP section, whatever. We had a VIP section on the floor, and his crew came down, and we shared drinks. And
That's so
I
Damn.
was so hammered, I don't remember half of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, there you go.
I want to
That's a
have
good
my
one.
own decision. If I have to move shows or move company, I'm taking my talents to.
You know what, Shane, if you ever leave this company and you are going to make a decision to go somewhere, you're more than welcome to announce it on the show,
I love it.
and then proceed to clean out your office.
That would be the saddest yet happiest day of my time here at PHNX when that happens.
Happy tears.
Yeah.
All right,
All
what's
right,
next?
we'll do Shane next.
I don't think Ransom is a LeBron fan, or he just doesn't like the fact that I had that much fun, I guess. I don't know.
All right. I have a cat named after a rapper. I have a scar that looks like a little boy, or just a boy, not a little boy. He's a little
These
boy.
are the worst.
He's a little boy playing
Two
tennis.
truths and a lie I've ever seen.
I used to take cooking classes.
Oh my gosh. You have a scar that looks like a little boy.
Do you want to see it?
Oh
No.
my gosh.
No.
It's B.
What? I don't even care enough to answer.
You have to.
Yeah, it's B.
Damn it.
You gave it away by saying you want to see it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, now I know it's B.
All right. Last but not least, Johnny.
A, I used to, as a 6-year-old, I placed 3rd in a Midwest tap dancing competition.
Oh, that's amazing.
B, my middle name is Wilbur.
Ugh.
C,
Oh my God.
at the 2011 Big Ten Media Day, I took a piss next to the late Joe Paterno before he died.
You won that tap dancing competition. There's no way you placed 3rd. You won that shit. I'm going A.
I'm going A as well.
It is A. I did not compete.
Oh, I thought you would have like placed.
Dude,
higher.
your name is Wilbur?
My middle name's Wilbur.
Fuck yeah.
My
Wildcat,
That's
baby.
ammunition.
my dad. No.
Yeah, it
yourself.
is.
My one grandfather was named John. He's still kicking, 92 years old,
Nice.
nursing home in Illinois. Great man. I think has logged onto our programming at one point or other, and then probably just gave up. And then my late grandfather, who's my best friend growing up, was named Will, aka Wilbur Venerable. So I am John Wilbur Venerable
Love
as a
it.
result. So, and then I did take a piss next to Joe Paterno. Coincidentally, I was at the urinal and another little person walked by me, and I'm like, "Who's this guy?" Because I was there volunteering. I was like a mic holder when they would ask questions, right? And I'd run around to the media and hold the mic. And I'm like, "Oh, somebody else is next to me. You know, maybe it's another intern or somebody like that."
Small.
It's old Joe Pa before he died. Yeah.
Do you like have a special connection, like when you like if you're driving the same car as somebody? Is it kind of like the same thing when you see somebody that's 5'6"?
No, just the height thing for me. Like we were out Friday night, and I don't know if you saw, there was a guy, and this is the things I like.
I
witnessed
on the smaller van,
and he was like caddy corner table across from us, and he was even shorter than I was, probably like 5'4", 5'5".
That get you fired up?
And I wanted to go like befriend him, and I almost said something to you about it, and I'm like, I don't want to take time away from our conversation. So, but yeah, I just, you know, when you're smaller and you can make eye contact with people,
it's
or
like, is it the same as like, you know, like me when I'm out and about and, you know, I see a brother and I'm like, what's up, man?
It's exactly
what's
like,
up?
It's exactly
so is
like
that the same thing for like short people?
Yep, it's exactly like that.
All right then. I can't. That's awesome. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh my goodness.
Johnny's just like, I feel you, bro.
Hey, it's time to tap that app. Let's go. Tap that app. That's where we give you our props, our locks, our drops, get you prepared for week number 9 in the NFL. Guys, we are exactly at the midway point of the season. Here we go. All right.
What the hell was that?
Let's get it going.
Okay.
All right. My lock of the week. I said it on bets. I'm doubling down today. I hope you took this number.
Let's go props first, buddy.
Props?
Prop, lock, and drop it.
All right. Prop today. You cannot get Colt McCoy throwing numbers yet, which is why that is not my prop. Otherwise, it would be. But DraftKings is rightfully waiting until he's announced Kyler Murray inactive. So I'm going to go with my guy, Jordan Love, at Kansas City today. I got 2 props for you. Jordan Love over 233.5 passing yards and over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think we're going to get a historic performance. All the Packer wide receivers, the compliments on offense are back this week. Kansas City's defense, you know this, Shane, big time dirt. He's going to go in there. There's no film on Jordan Love. I couldn't find any, right? He got hurt in the preseason. I don't know how they're going to prepare for him. He's going to be running around. He's going to be throwing on the run. He's been in this offense for 18 months. Matt LaFleur is a big-time head coach. I think Jordan Love, you hit your wagon today, you'll be – I don't know if he's going to be a success long-term, but I think today he's going to have a big performance.
Yeah, the Chiefs secondary is just too bad to not take this.
They've actually been playing better the last couple weeks.
All right. Eric Sorensen, I feel so bad for him on Twitter.
They benched him.
They did.
And Michael Lombardi, friend of the program, PHNX Bets, came on our show and said that he liked the Chiefs defense this week, but I'm going to push back on our buddy Mike.
I like the hope that you have in Jordan Love. I think he does show something, especially with all the Aaron Rodgers stuff. My prop, Dak Prescott over 273 passing yards. I think they score a lot against a Broncos defense that should be better, but somehow is just terrible. That was the only shining part of this whole team to start the season, and it's been underperforming like crazy. I think they put up crazy numbers. I also took their team total over, which was like 29. The Broncos are going to get blown out today, and I think Dak's going to have a huge day at 273 passing yards over.
My prop for the day is the Vikings at the Ravens. Justin Jefferson minus 120 for under 25.5 yards as his long reception of the day. I like that bet. I will take that bet because the Ravens, when they want to show up, they show up in a very big way. So you got to minimize that passing attack. And Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He never tends to play very well on the road. And
well, he already had his month of really good quarterback play.
So
and that's over.
It's
now.
due for a bad one. So.
And that Ravens defense, especially the secondary, has been playing really, really well. So
I think they'll keep everything underneath it, especially Justin.
For sure.
And 25.5 is my prop. Lock of the day. We'll take the Falcons money line versus the Saints. I know everybody's like, oh, well, the Saints, maybe they're better than we all thought, and blah 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 because they beat the Bucs. No, frauds. All of them.
You're taking the money line?
I'm taking the money line. I think I think the Falcons will win this game, even though it's in New Orleans. It's also we have to remember when you're talking about division games,
for sure,
they're just different compared to other games, and you saw that with the Bucs and the Saints just a week ago. And so I like the Falcons. They've been playing much better football of late. And so, yeah, I like them to win straight up.
I definitely think they cover that game. I like the money line pick, and I agree with
the money line. I think it's 3 or I think it's 3.5.
Yeah, I like a game we previewed on Bets on Friday. You should have gotten the number when it was 5.5. It's now 4. Houston at Miami. Tua is out with a finger. He's active, but he's super fragile. That means you're going to get Jacoby Brissett. Tyrod Taylor is back for Houston. When they had Tyrod Taylor, they were incredibly competitive. They won their opener against Jacksonville. They almost beat New England. So I'm a big Tyrod Taylor guy. I think they may not win this game outright, but I certainly think it could be a field goal game late in the fourth quarter. Miami's one of the worst teams in football. I don't know what's happened to my guy Brian Flores, but that team just looks terrible. And Houston, by all accounts, don't have a ton of talent, but they didn't trade Brandon Cooks. They held on to him. They have their running backs. And I think Tyrod's going to be enough of a chain mover to make sure that game is close. 4 points is still too much. I like Houston to cover.
Extremely competitive, really. You just described the Texans as extremely competitive.
Have you watched Miami? Everybody thinks Miami is
no.
We're
not talking about that. We're not talking. We're talking about you calling the Texans extremely competitive
when they have Tyrod Taylor.
With just Tyrod Taylor, extremely competitive.
Yeah.
Like they can win a game.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's what that means.
They did
win a game.
I know. That's not what I'm. But calling them extremely competitive
when they have Tyrod Taylor.
Right. I like Miami in this game. I think they've started to turn things around.
Shut up, Shane.
Okay, you know what? Sure. My lock of the day is the Chargers. It's now a pick 'em. It started at like 2.5. It's going toward the Eagles. They're in Philadelphia. So give me the Chargers. Pick 'em. It was at 1 this morning, and then it's now moved to just a straight pick 'em. So -110 Chargers money line. Give me that all day. I think they win that game pretty easily.
So I'm a big time fraud for my drop of the week because I'm gonna just be honest with you, America. I picked the Arizona Cardinals to win outright, and I don't know if that's going to be the case. So much so, I just put money on the Niners to cover -3.5 on the DraftKings Sportsbook.
Wow!
App. So it's kind of that reverse jinx psychology deal. So my heart wants something.
You're emotionally hedging.
My wallet wants something else. So I would not recommend you do the same. This is just for me and my degenerate gambling approach. But don't touch this game. I do think Colt McCoy is going to play. We're not going to see Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. We'll talk about that here in our last segment. But this, to me, divisional game. The Niners have not won a home game in a calendar year, right? And so they're getting Kittle back. Debo's playing. Elijah Mitchell's playing. I don't know what to expect from the Arizona Cardinals today. I want to believe, right? I believe in you, Cliff. But I could definitely see this being like a 14-point loss for the Cardinals, or they could win it outright. I have no idea what to expect.
Interesting. My drop is actually what you guys were just talking about, the Dolphins, because I'm not a believer in the Dolphins either. I think they're a joke, really.
They've hurt you too many times.
And without Tua, they've hurt me way too many times. And with Tua not in the fold, I can't see a path for them to win this game. I actually do like Tyrod in the Texans.
I like Jacoby.
In the -4.
Shut up, Shane.
Hell yeah, take that all day long.
My drop, there's 2 games: the Packers and the Chiefs, and the Titans and the Rams. Both of these games have a team with their best player out, Aaron Rodgers and Derrick Henry. The Titans, to me, everyone loves that -7. I think it's 7.5 now for the Rams, but I just don't know. You're going to find out a lot about this Titans team because they really came into their own and on offense when they're in 11 and 12 personnel with those tight ends, and a lot of that has to do with Derrick Henry being, an option to go to, and now that he's not there, you're going to see some things changed up. Last year, Ryan Tannehill led the league in dropbacks, and now he's not doing that. So this team's going to be completely different. Same with the Packers. You just really don't know what you're going to get from both these teams, and the line's around 7 for both of them. I'm not touching either of them.
All right.
Interesting.
Very interesting. All right. And that leads us to our last segment of the day. Man, we're kind of whipping through this. We need to slow down a little bit. Presented by Burgang Travel. Get off my lawn. If you don't know about Burgang Travel, please check them out, burgangtravel.com. And you can join us on the road. Johnny will be in Chicago. The crew might be in Dallas, the whole 9 yards. It's fun. Tailgate experiences. Right now, if you're going to go to Chicago, you can get their a la carte stuff. So you don't have to buy the entire package now. You can just go to the tailgate on the day of the game or the other events that they have planned going on for that Monday. I don't know what these 2 buffoons are doing.
Stop touching me.
I'm not touching you.
My gosh. All right. Anyway, kids, stop.
I'm trying to get
So enjoy the Burgang Travel stuff. Cardinals at the 49ers. It's a bigger game than I think people realize, because if the Cardinals win, they basically take the San Francisco 49ers all but out of the playoff picture, definitely out of the division race. So we will see what is going to happen today. I know you don't have a good feeling about this one, Johnny, but I also do know that you didn't have a good feeling about Cleveland. I know we have a comment on the screen that says, I'm not touching the lines this weekend. I'm touching Shane's mustache if I play my cards right.
I pray for you, Nick. All right.
I don't want to talk about that comment. What you said about the Niners is so true, because not only record-wise it does take them out, but they are on the up and up. They started to figure some stuff out. Their offense is playing a lot better, actually, and their defense is playing a little bit better. That secondary is still just, they're constantly rotating corners in. So this halts the momentum, and I think that's the biggest thing, because if this team gets a win against the Cardinals, even without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, it gives them confidence, and they can get on a roll with Shanahan. I know you're so anti-Shanahan with this record and subpar, but I still believe he's a good coach. So stopping the momentum now is a huge step for
you know
the
who the Niners play next week? The LA Rams. So I don't want to hear anything about the 49ers. Today is not about the 49ers. Today is about the Cardinals, big picture. This is a therapy session for you America Cardinal fans, because I'm going to give you some insight. The season is not won or lost with today. So I see people on my timeline, in my DMs on Twitter, saying you have to play Kyler Murray even if he's 70%. Are you out of your goddamn mind? All right, this is a 17-game season.
For sure.
This team is all but assured to go to the playoffs. I could just foresee Kyler Murray not trying to run around, but getting away from Nick Bosa. DJ Humphrey misses a block, and they wrap him up, and oops, he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. That you can't afford. The season would, in fact, be over. You can lose the season. It can't be won today, but you can lose the season today by making a poor decision with Kyler Murray and subsequently DeAndre Hopkins. So I go back to the analogy of, you went and you secured Colt McCoy early in the offseason, right? He was not a summer signing, right? They prioritized him for this reason.
Yeah.
They feel like they can win a game, and I do too, with him as your starting quarterback. Now, did I feel better, Saul and Shane, earlier this week when I thought Hopkins and A.J. Green were going to play? Yes. But I also think that I'm going to be watching this game today. I have no idea what to expect. You're going to have Andy Isabella and Antoine Wesley and Rondell Moore running around against a bad 49er secondary. I think the Cardinal offense will keep this game competitive. I think they'll put up points. My concern, the Cardinal defense without J.J. Watt last week against Green Bay, not very good. The offense that the Niners run with LaFleur is the same offense that Shanahan runs with the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are going to try to pound the football with Elijah Mitchell, dink and dunk, quick passes, which, again, Garoppolo's not Aaron Rodgers, but I think that they can use it to some effect. If the Cardinal defense cannot wet the bed today and maybe force a turnover or two, this will be a close game entering the fourth quarter. But if they get dominated from time of possession standpoint and they allow Jimmy Garoppolo to get in a comfort zone like he did against Chicago, it's going to be a long day. I am not worried about the Cardinal offense today. It's weird to say that with Colt McCoy, but I have just a comfort level with him right now that a lot of people don't.
Well, it's Colt McCoy. You're getting Colt McCoy, who isn't a quarterback that has been sitting on benches and hasn't started games. He has experience. He has a lot of experience.
Won at Seattle last year.
Yeah. So that doesn't worry me as much as getting the ball into a playmaker's hands. You don't have a DeAndre Hopkins that you can rely on. Maybe that can be Rondell Moore this game.
Yeah.
But I think that's the key for the Cardinals to win this game is don't go for big shot plays. Get the ball into Chase Edmonds' hands. Get the ball into Christian Kirk's hand. Get the ball into players' hands that can make plays. And at the end of the day, this team is better both ends of the ball when they're playing their best. And they shouldn't have a problem if they can just handle business on the offensive end.
Listen, you got to shut them both down, Kyler and
for
T-Hop.
sure.
You just got to shut them down. You have nothing, like Johnny said, you have nothing to gain today outside of maybe pushing the 49ers down a little bit lower on the totem pole and kind of snapping them back to reality. But this 49ers team is who they are right now. Like, they are the healthiest they've ever been all season. Mm-hmm. They are up and coming, and they're starting to feel themselves. If you don't step on their neck and put them out, you run the risk of now it's going to be a 3-team race down the stretch. And I know they got the Rams, but again, in the division, The 49ers has proven that they can compete with the Rams.
That's true.
And so it's not as easy as that. So it's a big game. And this is a statement game, because if the Cardinals can go in to Santa Clara and with backup quarterback Colt McCoy and a bunch of receivers that are not the primary targets normally on any given Sunday, and beat the 49ers, it's going to look just like the Green Bay game, to be honest. I think it's going to be like a 17-10 kind of game, 20-14 kind of game. I think that sends such a huge message to the 49ers that they are not where they need to be. They're not at the top of the division, or can they compete at the top of the division, because the Cardinals are just that much better. Defensively, I think this is the game. The defense has played okay this season. They've had their ups and downs. I think this is the game where they cement themselves as one of the best defenses in the NFL if they win. If they don't, you will see the glaring weaknesses all over the field, and then everybody's going to panic. I just know it.
If Cliff Kingsbury wins today, you need to give him Coach of the Year at the end of the season, regardless of what happens, assuming they make the playoffs, for what they've done at this point.
7-game losing streak.
Well, yeah. I just think that would speak so much to the culture they built. We saw it on display in Cleveland. And they just had a bad game against Green Bay. That was an emotional week. So I don't give them a pass, but I understand the rationale of losing to Green Bay. To me, it's about number 55 today. Number 55, yep. Chandler Jones wrote an article about it. Go PHNX.com about, hey, Chandler, where you at? No sacks since week 1. He's got 2 sacks, 2 sack games in his last 11. So 9 of the last 11 games with this franchise, he's shut out with sacks. And his rationale is, well, I'm getting to the quarterback. I'm just not bringing him down. I'm forcing turnovers, this and that, the other. Chandler Jones, when he's at his best, is in the backfield, strip sacks, right? And he wants to be paid a premium this offseason. He's 32 years old. He's going up against, in my opinion, unequivocally, the best left tackle going in Trent Williams right now. Mm-hmm. And so if he wants to go back up, tap Michael Bidwell's pockets, say, Steve Keim, where's my money at? This is a game, especially without J.J. Watt for however long, the season, this month, who knows, you have to produce. And Jimmy Garoppolo is the kind of quarterback where you can rattle him early and he will make mistakes for 4 quarters straight. He will give you the football and opportunities to jump on the football and have short fields throughout the duration of the game. What you can't allow to happen is what Chicago did last week, sans Khalil Mack. They didn't have Khalil Mack last week, so Garoppolo was allowed to sit back in the pocket, throw the football accurately. Nice weather in Chicago. He was really comfortable. He got more comfortable as the game went on. If the Cardinals can set the tone, I think the biggest player to watch outside of Jones is Marcus Golden against Mike McGlinchey, who is not very good at right tackle. Marcus can have a big explosive game, maybe a sack or 2, strip sack. Jordan Phillips on the interior. That's where this game will be won, because with Colt McCoy, you're not going to have the flash, right? You're not going to have maybe the explosive plays. He does not turn the ball over typically. So you might get some 3 and outs. It might be frustrating to watch at times, but if you can give him and the Cardinal offense a short field on a couple occurrences and you can play with a lead, that's their best recipe for winning. What will deflate this team is if the Niners get 9 to 10 play drives, they're up 10-0 early, and then you're going to force Colt McCoy to be one-dimensional offensively. You can't have that.
Yeah, you're 100% right. As Saul said, this defense has been okay, and the only reason why this defense has been only okay is because of that defensive front not being able to get consistent pressure.
Correct.
And when your secondary is outperforming expectations, you have to be able to get pressure, because that can complete the defense. And that's the biggest thing with this game. You're totally right. If you give Jimmy G time, the Niners offense time in general, that's how they thrive.
Blitz his ass. Send everybody.
Scheme. Do something different.
Stunts. Come on, man.
Send somebody off the edge. Do something different if you're not getting pressure.
Right. George Kittle being back in the lineup, I think is I mean, we all know what he provides to this 49ers team. He's one of the best tight ends in the game. It's a comfort factor for Jimmy. And so you have to acknowledge that. You have to account for that. But this is the reason why they signed guys or drafted guys like Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. Like, these are guys that can match up better against guys like George Kittle. And after that first year, we remember Cliff's first year when it seemed like every tight end they played against had like 150 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Right.
And so they accounted for that. And these are the games right here where, okay, these are the decisions we made 2 years ago. This is the reason why right now. So George Kittle coming back in the lineup, that's kind of my premier matchup to kind of watch today.
Yeah.
How does Isaiah Simmons fare against George Kittle? What kind of schemes is Vance Joseph going to implement that are going to throw Jimmy G off, because this is a schematic game. You have to match up with the 49ers, because if you just let them pound the rock, and they will.
Oh, yeah.
They will.
They're going to try that.
They have one of the more
on.
complex running games in the National Football League, and one of the most effective for a reason. And that's where Kyle Shanahan does thrive.
It's the most frustrating offense to play against when you're getting shredded, because same with the Rams. They move so much stuff, and as soon as you get comfortable stopping Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel comes on an end around, and now you have to account for that. It's so frustrating.
They're feeling themselves. I think that Jimmy G's been known to throw some hospital balls, and those are the kind of passes today where the Cardinals can't simply deflect them. You're going to need to secure interceptions today. You need to give Colt McCoy an extra possession or 2 or 3 in an effort to win this game. You cannot win this game if you lose a turnover battle. You have to make this game ugly for Jimmy Garoppolo. That is the key. And that's the difference why they didn't beat Aaron Rodgers, because the Cardinals turned it over three times. The Packers turned it over no times. I think that, as simplistic as that sounds, I think that will be the difference today. And the Niners are usually good for a turnover or 2 offensively.
Yeah. At the end of the day, win this game and shut everybody up. If Kyler Murray can come back next week, and you can take sole possession, and you can because still this team isn't getting the credit it deserves.
I feel like after the Packer game, and if they lose today, be prepared for it. I still think they're a damn good team, and I think that's a good caveat, Shane. If they lose today against San Francisco, a game that they're not expected to win, people will still bury them, right? They'll forget about them. Goodness, it'll feel like forever since they've gotten a win, dating back to Houston, which a lot of people didn't watch nationally. They've got Carolina next week at home. Then they have a bye. The right move is to, like Saul said, to sit your star players, right? Go out there with you. This is a culture win. They win today. They win it with culture in Kingsbury.
Well, look what just happened to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Packers came into town. Similar situation. They were missing Devontae Adams. They're missing Lazard. They had a couple guys that were down. They didn't make excuses. They found a way to win. Now, granted, AJ Green turns around. Maybe that doesn't happen.
That's what good coaches do.
But that's what happens, right? Like a culture win is what Johnny's talking about. So now the tables have turned. You are the depleted one going into an environment where they're at full staff. How are you going to handle it? What are the results going to be? If you can find a way to win this game and put the 49ers out of their misery, that's going to send a message to the NFL like, okay, the Cardinals are for real.
I have a unit to call out. The Cardinals' offensive line getting Rodney Hudson back today, presumably. The offensive line going into the season, I thought top 5 to 7 in the NFL. They played okay. Pass protection has not been good the last several weeks. I think they can push around this 49er front 4, and I think they have a chance to set the tone today. So if it's Justin Pugh and whomever starts at right guard, whether it's Josh Jones, Justin Murray, who's back, Kelvin Beachum, DJ Humphries, this is a game where your quarterback and your offense need you to set the tone. And Chase Edmonds, James Conner have been phenomenal tandem this year. It could be as simple as that. Like, hey, we're going to get pressure with Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden. And on the other side of things, we're going to push, Nick Bosa and Armstead around. They just put D Ford on IR. Fred Warner hasn't had that great of a season. There are some opportunities to be had for the Arizona Cardinals. Justin Fields ran all over this 49er defense last week, and I know that's frustrating because we'd love it to be Kyler Murray this week. You can run on them. Jonathan Taylor ran on them a couple weeks ago for Indianapolis. So I almost think that with Colt McCoy starting today, you get a couple things that emerge. Colt McCoy can play under center. I love Kyler Murray. They just don't do that with Kyler, whether he can or he can't. Colt McCoy was under center in the preseason. That gives you a new look. And I just think that also this offensive line, to me, you give Cliff an opportunity to not get so pass happy. And to his defense, I would be pass happy too with Kyler Murray and all these weapons. Now it's a little bit more watered down. Clearly, maybe he's a little bit more open to saying, I'm okay with 4 yards per carry today. Yep. I can sustain drives. I can play the field position game. And you're not like, oh, I gotta hit a 60-yard pass here. I'm craving. I'm desperate for it. Today, you can't play like that, and I don't think Cliff will.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Well, speaking of the offensive line, with Colt McCoy, I think he will make them look even better just because he doesn't get out of the pocket as much.
He'll step up.
Yeah, exactly. So this offensive line it's a perfect game to have a good game. They should be able to have a good game. There's no excuses because Kyler Murray sometimes makes this offensive line looks worse than it is by running into.
That's absolutely fair.
All right, from each of you before we sign off, what's one stat that you think is going to determine the game? Starting with you, Shane.
QB pressures, QB hits, anything that involves Jimmy Garoppolo being uncomfortable. I think that's the biggest thing. You get 2 turnovers from Jimmy Garoppolo in this game, the Cardinals win this game, no doubt.
Okay.
I think that's great. I'll double down. Turnovers. If the Cardinals win the turnover battle, especially handedly, they're going to win this game.
I think it's going to be I got 2 numbers that I'm looking at. I'm looking at 150 yards passing, 150 yards rushing. I think if the Cardinals have a good balance of both and don't put Colt McCoy in positions, assuming he plays, Colt McCoy in positions to where he has to win the game with his arm. I think the Cardinals can control the clock because they have a good, efficient running game.
Yep.
And I think the Cardinals could win this game. Yep. If they don't, and they have to rely on Colt McCoy throwing for 200 or 300 yards passing, and they don't get enough out of their running game, and you leave the ball in the hands of the 49ers to do exactly what I'm hoping the Cardinals can do, then they might be in trouble.
Real quick, the Niners and their corners struggle with speed at receiver. Right, they actually did okay against A.J. Green and to a lesser extent Hopkins until the fourth quarter of that matchup earlier this year. Josh Norman, we know how Drake Kirkpatrick gets down, right? His legs are toast. I think that it could be a sneaky scenario today. You got Isabella out there with Rondell Moore and Christian Kirk. Those are by far and large the Cardinals' 3 fastest receivers. Can they have separation? And now a player that you didn't have when you played them earlier this season, Zach Ertz, who we didn't even talk about. So there are going to be opportunities, again, with that offensive line piece, step up front 5 to exploit the Niners back 7.
Yeah, I think they scheme for that. I think there's a lot of 3 high that they play, and they play for those deep passes. So I think that opens up Zach Ertz. I think that opens up a lot of the run game, and I think Chase Edmonds can have 100 yards receiving today.
If they play back to try and stop the deep routes, they're not going to be able to defend the end arounds and the slants and the crossing routes. And that's, I'm excited. You know what? And I'm also excited because I just have this feeling. I have this feeling because we've seen him a couple times. He hasn't really made he made a catch against the Packers that was significant. It was on 3rd down or 4th down. But Wesley, I'm going to look for him to play a little bit more of a role in terms as opposed to Andy Isabella, actually. Just because he's got the length, he's got the height, he's got athletic ability. We saw in the preseason he can go up and get it. I think that's the type of receiver that Kyler's a little bit more comfortable with, especially when it comes to like A.J. Green and DeAndre Hopkins. Andy Isabella and Johnny have exchanged that special nod a few times. Ransom Klinger in the chat.
The short man nod.
There you go. You know what it's all about.
I like to think of myself more of a Rondell Moore.
Let's be honest. I think him and Christian did that too the other day. Even though Christian's just a little tall.
Yeah, he's got me. I also think that the Cardinals going into this game shorthanded, and the Niners being the presumptive favorites now, and the Niners have been told all week, you're gonna have to face Colt McCoy. We ought to win this game. This is a game we should win. The Cardinals play better as an underdog. They play better on the road, and the Niners with expectations have shit the bed all year. So I just, to me, the Niners last week, they're like, oh, it's us against the world. Nobody thinks we can beat the Bears. You're facing Justin Fields. This week, it's a little bit different. You haven't won a game at home in forever. Let's see how the Niners do when Jimmy G does against a fan base that despises him. I think there's a little bit to be said about that. Jimmy G's from Illinois. He went to Eastern Illinois. So he's probably had family in the crowd. He probably felt good about himself. Everybody at Santa Clara today wants to see Trey Lance. Nobody gives a you-know-what about Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. Jimmy, just give us the ball a few times, brother.
All right, score predictions before we get out of here.
Go ahead.
27-21 Cardinals.
Wow. So I bet against them, but for the sake of this program, I'm going to say 28-27 Cardinals.
I actually think it's going to be a low-scoring game, so I'll say 23-20. I think the Cardinals pull it off.
Wow.
Last-second field goal.
I said I would not bet against this team after the Cleveland win, and I will not do it the rest of the year.
Well, there you go. Hey, Cardinals are undefeated on the road. We're undefeated at home. That's all that matters. I mean us, our show is undefeated, not the Cardinals, obviously. But thank you so much for joining us today on the PHNX Tailgate. We'll be here next week at 10 o'clock, our new start time because of daylight savings time in the other parts of the country. Obviously, has no effect on us here at Arizona. So
I don't hate it.
For Shane, Johnny, and myself, we'll see you next time.